We're all here today because 90% of business problems are people problems. When the wrong person is hired or a team doesn't work well together, it affects productivity, profit, and culture. Here's a few stats just to put that into perspective. Employee disengagement costs the UK economy £340 billion a year. That's the equivalent of funding the NHS. 3 out of 4 employers say they've put the wrong person in the wrong seat, while 4 out of 5 employees are disengaged or quietly quitting.
As Dave's already said, 90% of business problems are people problems. Let's have a look at why that actually happens today. This is Red Rum, arguably one of the best steeplechase horses of all time. A rhetorical question for you all. Would you put Red Rum in the shafts of the Tetley beer cart to pull barrels of beer? Or would you put a Shire horse in the Grand National? I think we all agree that the answer to that is no, and it would be a complete disaster if we did. The Shire horse would come last and no beer would get delivered for Tetleys. So another question, if it's so obvious with horses, then why do we do it with people? Why do we put people in the wrong roles in business? Well, before we can answer that simple question, we need to understand people and what makes them behave as they do. So a little stat for you, 95% of people believe that they're self-aware. However, only circa 15% of people truly are. That means that 80% of us on this call are lying to ourselves about ourselves every single day. Now, that's a huge discrepancy. This is all about self-awareness. So I know we said no boring theories, but we need to quickly understand why people behave as they do. People have drives, these drives create needs, and these needs resonate in behaviours. In a typical recruitment process, companies observe behaviours at interview, but that means that they have to guess at what a person's drives and needs are. However, by using Predictive Index, we scientifically measure drives, and then we can accurately predict a person's needs and behaviours. Needs aren't nice to have in your lives. You need them, and if you don't get them in your day-to-day life, then you'll become disengaged and unhappy. So a great example of this is both Dave and I have a drive to survive. We both want to see tomorrow, believe it or not. We both have a need for food. However, Dave goes to Waitrose and buys organic food, yet I go to a fast food outlet. Now, if we only observe the behaviours, you have to guess at what my drives are. And nope, it's not because I'm lazy, it's because I've got 2 children and I'm constantly playing dad's taxis to football, tennis and swimming. And I know some of you on the call can absolutely understand that. So both me and Dave have similar drives and needs, but our behaviours are completely different.
Just for the record, Matt, I don't always shop at Waitrose, only when I have guests. But to your point, same drive, same needs, totally different behaviour.
Yeah.
I like to think of it like an iceberg. Above the surface, we see behaviour, knowledge and skills, but beneath, the bit that really drives performance is hidden. Things like values, motivational drives and cultural fit.
PI is all about understanding the full person, their values, their culture, their behaviours and their cognitive ability. In a typical recruitment process, companies only look at what we call the briefcase, the skills and the knowledge. One of the problems with that is there are so many unconscious biases that play out. Wow, you went to Oxford University, you must be good. Or you worked at PwC, and apologies for PwC on the call, but you must be the best. But we make so many assumptions when we see experience. That's like me saying that Red Rum, the best racehorse ever, must be good at pulling heavy weights. It's an assumption, and it's an incorrect assumption. So by scientifically measuring someone's drives, we can accurately predict their needs and their behaviours, and we provide people with 3 profiles: a self, a self-concept and a synthesis. The first one is called self. This is your unconscious behaviour. It's your authentic self, or in the business environment, when the proverbial hits the fan, it's the behaviour which comes out without you even thinking. Self-concept is how we consciously alter our behavior to fit in. Now, it's human nature. We all want to fit in. We all want to be liked. However, the more that you consciously alter your behavior, the more mental and physical effort it takes. It's like me asking you guys to write with your non-dominant hand for a full day. At the end of the day, it would be exhausting. The third profile is a synthesis, which is a mixture of the two. It's the shadow that we cast, or it's how other people see us. So why is that important? We've talked about how companies typically approach recruitment, and you'll see that the majority of the time, 75% of the time, companies focus on the briefcase when making hiring decisions, and only 25% of hiring decisions include behavioral data. If we flip that to when we fire people, it's a whopping 95% of decisions are based on behaviors. So we could put the world's best individual into your organization. Lindsay, we could put the world's best L&D person in with you guys, but if they annoy you, then you're going to dismiss them.